What's good, my kings and queens? Hey, Bible babes. Hey, beloveds. Okay, so I'm doing a Bible study really quickly. So just hear me out. I just woke up. Good morning. Okay, so I'm reading First Kings, right? And basically, this is the part where David has died. Okay, well, he did. He gone. Solomon, I was reading all about Solomon, his wives, his concubines, and now Solomon is dead and gone, right? And Solomon's son, so you got Solomon's son, Rehoboam, and you have a king, someone else named Jerobaom. Basically, they are fighting to be king. You know the different tribes of Israel. You have Judah. You have all the different tribes. The 12 different tribes. So Jeroboam is already a king of Judah, and he's trying to become king of everything. But Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, is also trying to be kingdom of Israel. How, just, they going back and forth, right? So they trying to figure this out. Basically, right now, Jeroboam is a king of something, right? And so we already know that with Solomon's heart was led away by his wives. So Solomon had all them wives, 700 wives and concubines that God told him not to have. He told him, do not marry these women. Do not go into them. Do not let them come into you, because you will start to worship their gods, right? He was like, yeah, but they beautiful. I don't care. They have my heart. So he did marry them, and then he did end up following their gods. He followed the gods called Shechem, gods like Penuel, burned sacrifices for them. Gods like Milcom, Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Zidonians, a whole bunch of other stuff, a whole bunch of other gods, right? And they have their names in here. So at this point, like I said, I'm gonna say R and J, Rehoboam and Jeroboam. Jeroboam was one of Solomon's officials when he was king. They're up against like, okay, we want to have territories. Jeroboam, he sets up idols. So he sets up idols in Israel. He sets up the idol Shechem, and Penuel or Penuel. He sets those up for people to be able to worship if they needed to. And basically, a man of God, the whole story today is really about this nameless man of God from Judah. This man of God comes, and what did he say? He talks about how a child shall be born into the house of David, Josiah. And if you know, it kind of gives prophecy to King Josiah. He was one of the kings. So he's saying a child will be born into the altar of David. And, David was a servant of God. God loved David so much. Of course, Solomon was David's son. And then Solomon's son is Rehoboam. So we are still in the lineage of David, talking about him right now. But the man of God is saying, okay, so a servant is going to, a child is going to be born into the altar. His name is going to be Josiah. He's going to be king. And this altar that you have built for these other gods is going to be rent into two. And so he gave the sign, and then it says, at that moment, the altar was rent. The altar was split in half. And all the ashes that were upon it from any incense and sacrifices that they did were poured out. And so Jeroboam, he heard this, he cried out, he put his hand on the altar, and when he did that, his hand withered up to like basically nothing. And he was like, okay, ask God to put it back. And so the man of God asked him to put it back, and his hand was okay. Cool. So after that, he says, let me see. He says, well, thank you for doing that. So come home with me and refresh yourself, because you went on a long journey. Come eat, come drink, come back to my house. And the man of God says, no. God gave me specific instructions to not go back the way I came. So if I'm coming from Judah, coming over here, I need to keep going through and circle back around. And then do not eat or drink anything in this nation, in this land. And so he packed up his stuff, and he went on his way. So he was going home. Now there was an old prophet that lived in the land, right? This is Bethel. which is, in Israel, in Dan, one of those tribes. So there was an old prophet in this land. And his sons told him, wow, look at all this that happened. He came, he said that the idol that he set up will be split in half, and it was, and then he left. And then the prophet was like, oh, well, I got to catch up with this man of God because he a man of God, I'm a man of God. So he ran to catch up with him, and he found him sitting under an oak tree. And he said to him, are you the man of God? The man of God was like, yeah, that's me. I'm sorry, I'm holding this up because like I said, I just woke up. And he was like, well, come home with me and eat some bread. And he says, I can't do that because God told me to not go back the way I came. Your house is back. And to not eat or drink anything in this land. And he says, well, brother, I'm a prophet too, just like you, You a prophet, I'm a prophet. God told me that I need to take you back to my house and we can eat together. And when I read this, before I read to the next line in my head, I'm like, how you know he's not lying? And the next line literally says, but he lied unto him. And I said, ooh, you finna get in trouble. That man of God is about to get in trouble because the way that God works, it's been stories in the Bible where I read, if they didn't know it was the angel, like Elizabeth's husband. Elizabeth was Mary's cousin, married Jesus, Elizabeth's husband, I forgot his name. He didn't believe that he was going to have a son. When the angel told him, you're going to have a son, this is his name. And so the angel was like, all right, you're going to be mute for 9-10 months until your baby is born. Even Sarah, Abraham's wife, Father Abraham with many sons, when the angel told her you're going to have a son, and she was still so old, she chuckled to herself. He was like, what you laughing at? What you think is funny? Or times when angels would tell them stuff, and it was a prophet. He was like, I don't believe that. And the man died. Or he didn't die, he got punished. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, when I'm reading this, I'm like, how would they know? How would they know that this is an angel of the Lord? You get what I'm saying? Like, it's not coming to them in a dream. It's not like a burning bush. Like, if it's a burning bush, it's not being engulfed in the flames. It's just burning there. I would think, okay, this is something spiritual. This is something supernatural. Obviously, but if you're just a man that looks like a man, and you're telling me this is what the Lord says, that's the point where you have to have that discernment. And you got to be so locked in. My arms is hurting. You got to be so locked in with the Lord to know, like, this is what the Lord would say. So if somebody comes up to you and is telling you, you will not be great, you will not be anything, you have to be so locked into the Lord, understand his discernment, understand his word, fact check it in his word. Is that what the Lord has said about me? Or is this what the devil is saying? Is this a devil in disguise? Is he trying to get me off of my P's and Q's, off of my walk with Christ? You have to live in a certain level of discernment to understand, okay, this is not what my God says, so I'm not going to believe it. So if God says you're going to have a child, I know it was their hearts that were hurt and their pride, and they were in pain for trying so many years. And they're like, well, I don't want to get my hopes up. Please don't get my hopes up. And they didn't believe, rather than believing that God can do anything. God can and will do anything, and we have seen it. But at the time, they didn't see that people was having kids that old. Honestly, because right now, if you are 60 years old, honestly, if I was 90 years old, I'm being real for me, for real. If I was 80 or 90 and God told me, yeah, you're gonna have a kid, I'm be looking at you like, are you for real? I'm gonna believe it, but I'm be like, God, for real? Again? Like, or even if God's like, you're going to have a child and you got your tubes clipped and burned, you're going to be like, science says that's not possible. But we have to forget, we put stuff before God. God created science. God and science go hand in hand. And people like to say science contradicts God. No, God made science. Everything in science, if you fact check it roots back to God. That's a different story. But you got to put ourselves in their shoes to understand, okay, I may not believe it either, but we have to learn based off of what they didn't know. And in my head, I'm like, how would they know? How would they know? How would they know? How would they know? Because you have to be in tune, locked in with God to know. If an angel came to you, if you locked in with God, your spirit would feel it. Your spirit, you'd get goosebumps or whatever that you would feel. Your heart will palpitate. You would know, like, okay, this is God. Like, this is God's word. This is what he's saying. You from God. You know what I'm saying? And that's why some prophets did feel that. And they knew, like, okay, you were an angel. Going back to the story, right? I said, oh, you get in trouble. So they eating and dining, right? And like he wasn't supposed to. He went back and he's eating and dining. Child, I'm finna put this on my husband because my arms is hurting. I tried. I really did try. I'm gonna have to struggle through it. It's gonna give me some arm muscles. Okay, so he lied, right? So God told the prophet that already lived in Bethel that lied. He said, tell the man of God this. So the prophet said, this is what he said. Thus saith the Lord. No, I'm playing. I'm gonna paraphrase it. He says, as thou hast disobeyed the mouth of the Lord, I'm not paraphrasing, I'm reading it verbatim. The mouth of the Lord, and hast not kept the commandment which the Lord thy God commanded thee, but camest back and has eaten bread and drunk water in the place of the which the Lord did say to thee, eat no bread and drink no water, thy carcass shall not come unto the speculary of thy fathers. And I know I read that word, if you know what it is, I don't know what it is, or how to pronounce it. I didn't look it up before I watched this video. But speckler, basically, it's a really nice place. You know, you die with your family. They have the kings. Once the kings die, they will be buried in the specklery with everybody else. So he's saying he said your carcass is not gonna come with your fathers. So the prophet saddled the man up. The man of God up on a donkey, and he said, all right, we'll go ahead and go. So it didn't say that he went backwards, back the way, because he already went backwards. So I'm like, you know, I feel like he went forward and he was like, well, I'm going to try to do good. I messed up. Let me try to do good. It doesn't say that he messed up and kept going backwards back home. So I feel like he went the way that he went. It just says that he got on his donkey and he went. But when he was on his way, a lion met with him and slew him. He tore him to pieces. He slew him to pieces, but he didn't eat him. He didn't eat him, or he didn't eat the donkey that was with him. And some people in the city saw it. They saw that the lion was just sitting there looking at him instead of consuming him. So they went back into the city. Told everybody. And the old prophet heard about it, and he felt bad. So he went to him, and he still saw the lion just sitting there looking at him. He saw the donkey that he gave him just there. The lion didn't eat the donkey, and the man wasn't consumed. He was just dead. So he picked the man up, put him on the donkey. That's why I don't think he shred him to many pieces. Maybe it's like he just took the head off, or like cut the body in half or something like that. But he put him on the donkey, and he brought him back. And of course, God told the man, the prophet, he's not going to be buried with his fathers. So the prophet was like, all right, well, bury this man. And he don't even know his fathers. He was like, bury this man in my grave where I'm going to be buried. So he told his sons, bury him where I'm supposed to be buried. So they buried him. And then he told his sons, and when I die, since he's in my grave, bury me with his people. Now, he don't know his people. I mean, they all people because they all related in some sort. So, I mean, he may have really wanted to be buried in his grave. But at the same time, I feel like he leveled up to where he's going to die. Rather than, you know what I'm saying? And he's the one that lied. Moral of the story, message today is, don't let people get you off your bag, off your P's and Q's, off your walk with Christ. Don't let people get you off your focus, off your mission. Do not let people get you off, because this man of God was on assignment for the Lord. Strict instructions. Say this, go home. Don't eat nothing, don't drink anything. I know it's probably hard. You're thirsty, but don't eat in this area, right? Once you get somewhere else, I will provide water for you. Once you get there, just don't eat here. For whatever reason, we don't have to know the reason. In my head, when I was reading it, I'm like, are they really bad people? Because think about it, they started worshiping other gods. So if you eat and drink with them, are you going to want to worship other gods too? We don't know the Lord's ways. We could dissect it and say that. We don't know. His instructions said don't eat or drink anything and don't go back that way. Why not go back? Because people are going to talk to you. People are going to try to invite you to eat, and that's going to lead you to more temptation to actually eat, even though he said don't eat. I don't know. But he gave him instructions to not do so, and he did it anyways. And in my head, I'm like, how was he supposed to know the man lied? But you got to have discernment. It didn't say he prayed to God and asked him for an answer. Is this man telling the truth? We don't have to just quickly know. And things about it is people want you to have the answers right away. One thing I loved is that so far, I've been reading the Bible from front to end this year. So many stories in the Bible. Well, I did skip around a couple of times too. But so many stories in the Bible have talked about when they were prophets and someone needed an answer. What was the story I just read? Well, I didn't just read it. I think it's right here. Basically, it was one of the kings. It was a king. I'm sorry, I don't have the names, but I have the glimpse of the story. It was a king that wasn't on God's side, that didn't even know God anymore. The king, the man in charge, he was not messing with the Israelites. And he was like, I'm going to get this prophet, this man of God, to curse them. And the man of God came and he was like, but wait, they're a man of my God. They're people of my God. So why would I curse them? I'm going to bless them. And the king was like, you going to bless them? I told you to curse them. I should kill you, whatever. And he was like, I listen to the Lord and I only say what the Lord tells me to say. And he was like, well, do this. And he was like, okay, well, let me pray to him and see. And I'll get back to you in tomorrow or in 3 days. So he knew I don't have the answers. I need to talk to my God, ask him what I should and should not be doing. I need to pray to him. And it's not going to be immediate. He knew. And God gave him the answers, right? In that story, he repeated what he said, okay, only say what I tell you to say. But going back to this story in 1 Kings, he didn't even stop to pray. He said, he just took his word from face value. And we know that people lie. It says test every spirit. But we know that people are liars because we people. But because of his credibility, oh, you're a prophet, obviously you must be telling the truth. And we do that, oh, you're a doctor, we're going to believe you. Oh, you're an accountant, we're going to trust you with our finances. Like we just, we do just believe because of your title, because of your credentials. And that's also why, people nowadays are like, oh, what's your job? So I can see how much to respect you. Kind of the same thing. But it's like, okay, I took your word for it, the credibility. But he didn't get his discernment from God. He didn't ask God, like, hey, is this valid information? Is this valid advice? Even though God told him no. And when I was reading it, I'm like, well, why wouldn't he lie? Like, why would God renege on what he said? That's with me, right? Going back to the other stories, how do you know God's words? Fact check it, go based off of him. He's not going to say you're stupid, da 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 da. So I'm not going to believe that when you tell me that. But in this situation, why would God renege and say go back? And why would he not tell you? Like if he were to change his mind, he would tell the man of God, dine with them. But to me, I don't think that he would contradict himself. I don't think that he would say, don't go that way. Okay, no, go that way. Because he knows everything. So he would have told him, like in other stories that I've read, fact checking it based on his word, he would tell them, go into the city, don't eat or drink anything unless you go to this old prophet's house. He would have said that. He would have added that in the subclause. He would have said that. He wouldn't have said, go this way. Okay, come back. So that's also, like I said, fact checking off his word. That's not what he said. So you have to be locked in enough to know what he's saying. I'm taking too long. Good morning. Good morning, girls. All right, let me finish this, okay? Come on. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Where are your scrunchies?
Oh, these my mom.
Okay. Let me wrap this up. But yeah, moral of the story is you got to be locked in with God. You have to have that discernment. You have to talk to God. Ask God. Oh, you got all them boogers. You got to talk to God and ask God and just be with him enough to know what he's saying, to understand what he's saying. And you have to ask him for things. You have to actually talk to him and have a relationship with him. And that's where the man went wrong. And that's why he got punished. And that's why he died. Not because, oh, I listened to this man that lied to me. No, because you didn't listen to God. You should have asked God first before doing what you did, even when he gave you clear instructions. And it is messed up. Because I'm like, this man lied to you and came up. He did feel bad. He said he mourned for him. But just moral of the story, don't let anybody knock you off. Who you surround yourself with, who you trust, can knock you off. And I know they be like it's a devil in disguise. Growing up, I used to hear in church, the devil might be your wife. It was a man preaching. So he probably felt some type of way. His wife was probably calling him out on some stuff that he didn't want to change, right? But it's true, though. Your devil could be your spouse. Your devil could be your friend. You can have a devil in your mama. So you can have a devil in yourself. So you have to listen to the word of God. You have to fact check it out based off of what he says. You have to talk to him. You have to have a relationship. Don't take everything for face value. Don't let anybody knock you off of your calling and your blessing, even when it seems convenient. Oh, everybody else is doing this. I want to do this too. Well, you're not like everybody else. You're separate. You're set apart. I'm sorry, y'all. She want to get some milk. You're separate. You're set apart. You're something else. So you have to, go to your father, your maker. I'm sorry for cutting it short. I love y'all. I gotta go to tend to my mommy duties. Stay up, stay tuned, and stay.
Hi, beloved.
Hey, beloved. Stay up.
Bye, beloved.
Bye, beloved. Stay up, stay tuned, and stay in that word. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Say bye.